Welcome to another edition of Maritime Gateway Digital Dialogue. Today we have with us Mr. Makarand Prabhakar Pradhan, the chairman of CP World Group. Now, CP World Group is into e-commerce logistic solutions, majorly into consolidation of cargo and moving FCL cargo to many countries, also a global freight forwarder. Started way back in 1994. Now it has grown into a 600 plus employee company dealing with neighboring countries in South Asia like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Southeast Asian countries, and also moves full container load cargoes to Africa and CIS countries. Thank you very much for joining with us, Mr.
Thank
Pradhan.
you.
Welcome to the
My
show.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Since we spoke last time, now we have seen pandemic coronavirus impacting business. When we spoke last time, consolidation cargo business was booming with a lot of growth opportunities. Now, can you give me an insight into considering the last 3-4 months disruptions in supply chains and logistic movement? How is the consolidation cargo is today?
COVID has really hit the consolidation industry and the total EXIM trade in general. While we only talk about it from March onwards, but we as consolidators, with one of our major markets being China, started getting the hit from January onwards. We had a fantastic 2019-20, and we were looking at very good growth in 2020. Unfortunately, with these things cropping up, the business started hitting in the month of January, because earlier it was the Chinese New Year, December, and then it came up to be the COVID problem, and the imports drastically dropped. We were the first ones to sense that this is going to be a drastic change in the way business is being done. We prepared ourselves for this because we learned from our Chinese partners that we are working with them so closely, and what majorly affected their businesses. And we took a lot of precautions and actions to ensure that if this happens and if this comes up too big in India, how are we going to face? The most important thing was to have the systems online. We have been working on our softwares, our systems, and we wanted to come up to a level that we can work from home at any given point of time. And in the industry, we were the first ones to adopt to that change. From 17th of March, 100% of our people were working from home, except for the ones who had to go to the CFS. So I would say that the impact of COVID, we were the least sufferers in this, because our preparation was such. We had a little bit of planning and all those things. Similarly, for containers coming in import, whatever are consigned to us, we negotiated with the carriers through our agents for a 21-day or 28 days free period. We had to pay $25 per TU more, but it is better that we pay a little bit higher freight, make lesser profits, but we do not have the pressure of destuffing and returning the containers from the carriers. Otherwise, we would pay detention and damages to the carriers. So we were fully prepared, and it all went as if we had seen it. We had seen the blueprint of it, and it all went on happening. So we were prepared for it. Did not hamper our business so much, to be honest. Of course, the volumes dropped. Those were not in our hand, but servicing of cargoes which were in our hand did not suffer at all.
I mean, anticipating what could happen and moving on to digital platforms, because now many companies are accelerating their digital process. But let me come back to, you mentioned several times in your answer, China.
Yes.
Now there is a talk that because of the geopolitical situation, imports from China or again will dip. So, what is your perspective?
See, it's not that I have been a big fan of Chinese imports. As patriot, I also feel that we should not have imports. But one side is patriotism, the other side is actual commercial terms and business. Today, all the people who are consolidators and doing imports, if you see nearly 40% of the consolidation imports is from China. And that is not going to stop all of a sudden just because we feel or the government feels. There are a lot of areas where imports is a must. 70 to 80% of bulk drugs and chemicals come from China, which is a raw material for our pharmaceutical, our chemical industries. There are a lot of things where the prices don't compare of Chinese products and the Indian products. Now, if you see, Amazon has come up with this thing that they declare, you have to declare which country this is made of. And even then, Chinese goods are still selling. Again, our government can oppose the imports, but they cannot stop it. There will be definitely a dip in the imports from China. But at the same time, these commodities will have to be imported from the other countries in Southeast Asia. When we talk of Southeast Asia, we have our 35 offices in Southeast Asia. And we know how business is done there. And any shift of this kind, we are again prepared for it.
Next to China, which are the Southeast Asian countries you see opportunities could come up?
Korea is one big thing which is coming up in electronics. We have been buying a lot of components from Korea. Japanese products are there, but again, they are quite expensive and our industry cannot take them. If you talk about electronics, there is no other market, to be honest. China is the biggest supplier of these components. I do not see in electronics. If you talk about household items, gift items, and all those kind of things, there are other countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, they can fill up that gap. But their capacities are very limited compared to what it is in China.
How is your business with the neighboring countries in South Asia like Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh?
Oh, we have a fantastic service into Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh both. Of course, we do not do much by road into Bangladesh, but by the ships, we have a fantastic business. We are among the top consolidators, not only from India, but our group does very good consolidation from Dubai and from Singapore. So we have this as one of our very important trade with in consolidation with Bangladesh.
Do you expect this to grow?
I do not see that this is growing too much. This has been a stable trade and a stable increase. I don't see that it will just jump over because of whatever things. They are importing a lot of things from us for the things which are used for daily routine things. Bangladesh has been importing from India, and our share of exports into Chittagong is quite a lot. So when the trade itself is big, the growth is not going to be that drastic.
You mentioned Chittagong Port, Chattogram. Government of India planned to move lot of northeastern cargo via Chattogram. So,
Yeah.
what is the prospects of that move?
I think, see, this is basically for inland movement they want to do to Agartala. And by this port, we need good support from the Bangladesh government because the last lap into Agartala is going to be nearly 200 kilometers, which is going to be by road. So those restrictions and barriers have to be smoothened out if this move has to be successful.
How is your business with other countries like Africa and CAS?
Oh, we entered this market just about 3 years back. We are not seasoned in this market, but we do have our own offices in Africa, into the Eastern Africa, Mombasa and Dar es Salaam. This gives us a great edge over others because having a representative there, an Indian guy sitting there, who is coordinating the movements, it is of great help to us. We surely look at the West Africa also in the coming future. And then with that, we will do the inland trucking. The inland trucking is also done today. And this is a move not many people are doing. Just about 4 or 5 major forwarders are getting into it because it is not that simple. It is complicated and sometimes you can land up into huge losses. CIS, we don't have our office, but in 2 places, in Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, we have our representatives there. And this movement is going quite good for us. On a monthly basis, we are doing about 75 to 80 containers over 3 to 4 transshipment points, and that is doing quite well. Recently, we also did a project movement, and that was successfully completed. Of course, the biggest problem there is the vagaries of transport because of the weather conditions. The rates keep on fluctuating, and there are a lot of issues when it comes to the temperatures dropping below -10, -20, and all those kind of things. But yes, this is an experience to be taken every day as a new day, and we take it as it comes, and we slowly gain more knowledge on this day.
You are into e-commerce solutions, and I think you work closely with Amazon.
Yes.
Now, I think COVID-19, another positive side of COVID-19 impact is a lot of online purchases have picked up. So, how do you see future?
I will just, to give the future, I'll have to go a little back on what we did pre-COVID, and then I come to what we would target or what we are seeing it happening in the coming future. We started this business just about 2 years back. I would say 1.5 year back. Slowly, from one station to another, we kept on growing. There are 2 models in this. One model is where we pick up the goods from the Amazon warehouses and then deliver it to the last mile to the actual consumers. This is one model. And the other model is in the 3-tier and 4-tier cities. We open up our small hub, small warehouse come office. And then Amazon sends the goods to our location, and then we move it. If you talk about the ratio, we have nearly 30% of the business which we do where we pick up the cargoes from the Amazon warehouses. And 70% of the business is where we have our stations. We operate stations for Amazon. Last year, Amazon gave us this thing that we have to open up 118 stations. And we managed to open nearly 48 stations. Because of the COVID situation, this was hampered in April and little bit in May. But again, in June, July, it started, and now we are nearly at 70 stations. Amazon, the way they handled it, the way they supported us, they had, because they knew that the people who are giving deliveries, very difficult to find these people. It's not so easy. So having them on board, and just because the business is low, you just dismiss them or you terminate them. It's not a good sign. So Amazon started giving a special bonus to the delivery boys for no work because shortage of work. Just to give you an example, in the month of April, they gave us nearly 55 lakhs to be distributed to the delivery boys. And there is an audit. We can't keep even 1 rupee out of it, and we have not. That's not the intention. But we want to keep the bandwidth there so that any time the business grows, because Amazon was definitely smelling that the business is going to grow drastically. So they wanted to keep their delivery teams intact. And that is why they spend money. And that is such a fantastic thing to do. And that is why we did not have to do terminations. We did not have to take any drastic steps of reducing people and cutting down wages and all those kind of things. We just passed on what the Amazon gave and plus came up with some of our profits into mitigating those losses. And we maintained the team. Before COVID, we were doing 7 lakh shipments a month. Today, we are at 11 lakh shipments a month. So you see there is a 55% growth in the business. And with the new stations opened up, and in the last 2 months, even Flipkart gave us very good support. that was, we had just entered Flipkart, but Flipkart also supported us well. What we are looking at is in the festive season, Diwali, if all goes well, we should be touching 3 million shipments. So you can, the reason I want to tell you the background is to understand what is it that we are looking at. Of course, the volume drops a bit post festive season, the Diwali and up to December, the January onwards, it starts tapering down. But we still have or retain 80% of the volumes. That's been the cycle every year. That's for the last 2 years that we have experienced. And for the last 5 to 6 years that we have seen the data. Once you touch certain level in Diwali, in January, it tapers down by nearly 20%. But that also is a big jump. So this business has been growing leaps and bounds for us. My partner, Shrikant, my co-director, he takes care of it. He is continuously monitoring it. And we are able to get something right. We are doing it quite well.
These stations you mentioned, what is the size of each station? And then are these, you are building these assets for your company?
No, we have always believed in an asset-light model. So we rent it. And these stations are not used stations. Depending on the location and the number of deliveries that we expect over the next year, these stations anyway range between 400 square feet to 1,500 square feet. So these are not huge stations. These are smaller things. But the good side is that today, I was reading one report, there are more number of internet users getting in the hinterland than in the cities now. So I expect that this volume growth is going to be certain in the rural part of India. And
so
if
you are
that
preparing
happens,
for that?
yes. And if that happens, and which I am quite very optimistic guy, if that happens, we will see a definite growth in the volumes in the coming 2-3 years.
Excellent. We discussed several things, but what is the future agenda for you? Any other business domains that you are looking at?
At this point of time, apart from consolidation, freight forwarding that we are doing, the niche markets of Africa and CIS, and of course, last mile delivery businesses. We are not actually looking at much more diversification. We have also entered into sourcing for chemical industry. We have just got 3 or 4 orders because we started just last month. And we have executed 4 orders, 2 from Spain, 2 from Poland. These are chemicals that we sourced for the Indian chemical industry. And we are creating a platform. And if all goes well, we should have close to 1 million chemicals and bulk drugs on that platform. Of course, today, none of the chemical buyers or bulk drug buyers are buying on the website, on the platforms. They are like having personal relationships and dealing with people and all those things. But with the change scenario, more and more things would go online. And then if we have a platform like this, I think it would be one step ahead of the rest. This is what we think of. The biggest advantage that we have is, since we are very strong on the consolidation parts from these areas, we would be the best people to offer door-to-door service, right? Right from the shipper's doorstep to the consignee's doorstep. So this is what we are now concentrating on, apart from our business, which I say is a complementing business to our logistics.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Pradhan, joining with us today and sharing a lot of perspectives into consolidation business and also e-commerce business. We wish you all the best in future business initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best.